Hey Tim, look at this.
Needs work.
Hey Tim, how about this?
Still needs work.
Darn it. How about this?
Nice, high five.
Hey there everybody, how's it going?
My name's Tim.
And my name's Michael.
And you're watching the TMI show.
That's a Tim and Michael information show. Today it's art review.
It is, yeah, it's Critique Day.
Critique
it's Show
Day.
and Tell, as I like to call it.
Show and tell number two.
Yes.
Two. We'll
There
get the
it goes.
echo later. What we like to do on the show every so often is, again, we like to share what we're working on and give a little critique with each other. And again, for anybody who likes to watch, we'd like to say thank you that you've been loyal watchers from episode whichever one you decided to jump in on. And also so we can show you, we're actually doing stuff. We're not just
We're not just hacks who like to talk about what we do. I'm a theoretical artist myself. I don't like to get out the brushes.
Speak for yourself. I'm a hack. So we have pieces today. Do you want to go first?
You're the one go first.
You're the one who initiates, and it was your idea. I'd like to start with you.
Okay, well, I think that's a good idea.
Go ahead.
All right, so
there it is.
My piece.
Awesome. Wow. Does this have a title yet or anything? Or
this has a title, The Manta King, also known as How I Might Have Spent My Summer Vacation.
Oh wow! What was your inspiration behind this piece?
Well, really, it was. Honestly, as the title implies, summer vacation. I tried to do this at the height of summer and started working on it as we headed back into September. And I'm like, man, would have been a great way to just spend summer. It's something I fantasized about. I love manta rays. I love the ocean. This was sort of a whimsy piece at first, then I found out that they actually jump out of the water like this.
Okay, so would that be Tim? On the back there?
That would be me as my younger, blonder self, commanding King Manta there.
Well, what I really like about it is I remember the last piece that we were talking about. I said that you had some nice colors going for the parade, but that there wasn't quite a huge sense of value between your lights and your dark. This definitely has more of your ends of the spectrum. I'm looking at your yellow. I'm looking at that sun. I definitely feel a light source and a very, very light end of the spectrum. Almost a bit of white in there. And then I'm looking at some of your clouds. Not as dark as they could get, but they don't need to be. It's so you actually have a broader spectrum from dark to light. I'm talking about light right now. Looking at again, I'm going back to that sun and everything. There's a beautiful sense of glow. My eye goes to it immediately, and then once it goes to it, I kind of bounce off the little guy, the next big guy, and then kind of right up to our main little manta ray here. I do like it as a panoramic piece. If I would say anything, it's that you can always keep pushing your atmospheric perspective. As things go back in the distance and delineate, they have less clarity. You kind of have a little bit of that going on with our waves here in the front, and then as it goes back, it's less detailed, but you can even get a little fuzzy too. I mean, that little manta ray, the smallest one in front of the sun, would be very blurred, especially up against the sun. In fact, if you kind of squint your eyes, that's kind of how it should naturally look, and the clouds in the back too. They're almost the same color tone as the ones in the foreground, but those should get a little bit lighter. And really, that's the only technical thing I have to say about it.
Cool.
Is just, you worked in Photoshop with this piece?
I did. That is 100% Photoshop.
Very nice. I would say just kind of go in there, isolate some of them with the blur tool, start lightening some of the colors as they start to delineate. And like I said, do a couple more atmospheric studies just on your own in tone. Just to see.
Just black and white.
Just to get used to... this is fuzzy when it's far away. This is also lighter when it's far away. The darker stuff front pops out. Other than that, I love its little story, and I like your color choice. And again, what I'm really digging is the kind of sense of glow. Whenever we can actually capture a glow, and also look at some more sunsets when they actually go into water, or reflections. You'll actually find that it's not so much a highway effect as it is more of the upside down delineating pool. It's a small thing to look at, because I didn't notice it until much later after I'm looking, but...
That's a good point. It feels almost a little bit too perfect.
Yeah, and also I like the left to right motion, that's just a little thing from Brian telling us left to right, but there is a nice little left to right, where they're going, so nice work, man.
Cool. Well, thank you kindly. You've got something yourself, so let's bring that up.
I do.
All right.
Bam. There we are.
Cha.
So this piece, as it's titled, Thanksgiving Villain Vehicle, we were asked to design a Thanksgiving villain, and a lot of people did some very cartoony things. I went the line of if it were to be designed for a horror movie, I was really thinking about Eli Roth's fake trailer that he made Thanksgiving for the Grindhouse project with Tarantino and Rodriguez. And even though theirs was kind of just this pilgrim, I had these whole other sketches that showed what different versions of if I were to design a Thanksgiving villain for that horror movie, what it would be. But then the one you see, he's off to the very right there. He's the final one that I ended up going with, and he kind of has this, Native American face that he's like cut off, and then he's tied on. Is it a real face? Is it not? We don't know. It's mysterious, and so he's dressed up in this costume for modern day. And so when it came to a vehicle, I was thinking of how many horror movies have I seen, because I'm a big horror movie buff. But how many vehicles really exist within that genre? And at first, Christine comes to mind, the Stephen King novel, but that's just a car,
True.
And then I thought of the Creepermobile from Jeepers Creepers, and that, as far as vehicle design, has always been one of my quintessentials. I thought, gosh, look at this thing, it's amazing. So where do I go for it? And then actually, in my thumbnail stages, you see it up there in the little left-hand corner. It kind of happened as a mistake. I was drawing all of these silhouettes and ideas and thumbnails, and I joked around and I said, well, it takes place in a modern day, so what if I had a motorcycle pulling a covered wagon?
And it works.
Well, I kept drawing, as you saw. These aren't even all of the thumbnails. I had about 2 or 3 pages worth of thumbnails, and these are just some of the ones that I started developing further and further up there at the top when I started getting a good idea about how I wanted this thing to be.
True.
So we're looking at a 2 drag bike, custom, 2 V8 engines that are powering these drag bikes that then are pulling forward this wagon. And I kind of toned it down in the back of the wagon. I originally had the idea that I was going to have some heads and body parts hanging from, but...
I was just imagining, there's a wagon. What is it going to carry?
Yeah, that's the other thing. And if I were to, let's say, hand it to a production team for a movie or a game, I would, there's enough room to add, subtract, and change.
Do whatever you want with it, really.
Yeah, the horses, obviously, they're not as decayed as they could be. The ears are still sticking up, and I did have an idea to have the light that is still in there glow and make the skulls, have this light emanating from them. But, what I liked is that I spent some good time on all the detail, and I just felt happy about, my end result. So that's my little vehicle.
Well, very cool. Well, it's very unique, and it's really hard not to look back at that, your covered wagon there and just get that twisted, gnarly Tim Burton sense, which I absolutely love. Your villain is very well done too. He's very scary and intimidating without the usual trappings of being intimidating. It's not like you gave him this upshot or dramatic lighting or really dark clothing. But all the same, he just looks terrifying. You don't want to meet that guy in a dark alley or anywhere. And, like you said, you love horror. I like to think you're almost a master of horror or an apprentice of horror.
Thank you.
And it shows there. You've created a non-cliche villain that's truly scary. Your covered wagon and your V8 motorcycle is very unique too. Like you said, in fact, I want to jump in and piggyback on your point about the thumbnail, how it almost happened by accident. And we've talked several times in the show about how you have to go through the thumbnail stage and create stuff. And honestly, accidents like what you encountered are very often how you get the really good, crazy ideas out there. You're just doing something for fun. You go, hey, what if we hooked a dopey motorcycle up to this wagon? Oh my gosh, that works. And it works. Yeah, it's worked for me so many times. That's how it goes.
And I even created all of that pulley system. That all works in my mind. It works, So
right. So you went crazy with it, and it's a great design. Like you said, Phil went by and kind of turned his head and he looked at it and said, "Wow, that's different." For criticism, there's a couple of minor things that I could point out. And
please.
Overall, the piece is working. It just takes a little more to push this. Like you said, you had a lot of fun putting in the details on your engines and your bikes there, which is kind of where our focal point is. And you can see that they're there. I think I might push those, if I were you, just a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe so you had a bit more of individual contrast there. Contrast is, of course, naturally where the eye goes, so that would help really help the eye sit there. It's a natural place where you want to look, but the eye doesn't quite want to stay there as much as I'd like it to, and I think putting in a little more contrast for some of the details might help elevate it to that point.
Thanks.
Maybe especially on the horses too, since those are the focal point of the focal point. This one reads really well with the white patch around the eye. This one doesn't quite have it so much. We're really struggling to see that eye, so if you created another white pattern to help help that eye out, that might be the last 2% you need to really push this over the top. My other thing is, again, it's a technical thing. I think your perspective might be just, this is very, very nitpicky, but just slightly off. I think the angle at the bottom of the wheels there might be slightly different from the angle of the wagon. Not that I can really judge because I do that all the time.
No, I will, even though we're not supposed to interject during that critique.
Go for it.
I will say that thanks to Phil, I had done a lot of homework on my perspective, and I just struggled on the ellipse for those two front wheels, and it's amazing how much it throws it off. It really that is kind of it, and that's what's doing it. So it's a bummer too, because if I am gonna fix it, I probably should, because if you cover it up, I look at it, I'm like, gosh, it looks fine without this two front wheels. Gosh darn it.
Yeah, but again, that's a technical thing, and it's only slightly. It's off, but it's one of those things that doesn't really quite break the piece unless it's something you're looking for.
But it's noteworthy, though.
Yeah,
it's noteworthy.
So. But again, other than that, good piece, very nice, clean presentation. I love your little thumbnails at the bottom there with your inspiration and some of your textures. So.
Oh yeah, that's all for as
Well done.
Anybody who would need to model and have sort of like texture maps to go off of too. So I wanted to throw that in there. Yeah, again, I approached it as if I was going to be working in an office somewhere, and I needed to hand it off to someone to make it live in Maya or something. So.
I think that's just the last thing I have to say. You've always been very good on presentation. I think that's a signature tenet of your just you being a theater person, and it shows here. So, bravo.
Well, thanks. And if I may, let me do this little thing. Let's put both of them right on the screen at once.
1, 2, and 3.
There we are. Awesome.
Ta-da.
So this is what we've been doing, lately. So. Again, you guys just keep drawing out there, and a little tag note: keep your sketchbooks going. If you can do a drawing a day, come on, just
you will get so much better.
You really, really, really will. Patrick Ballesteros puts it on his Instagram daily. He says it's kind of his honesty check, or the what's that thing that we call accountability.
Yes.
Accountability. So. Whatever it is, we hope that you're still drawing out there. We hope that you're still doing your. I'm actually now feeling really good this spring coming up. I'm as we're getting out of winter. I don't call this winter.
Cold summer.
Yeah, no,
not even that.
California, sheesh. I actually feel good about just starting some of my own side illustrations now.
Good.
Just for me too, kind of like how you've been doing. I feel like I've worked enough that I can actually start doing things on my own and feel good about them. So we hope you're feeling good about your work too out there. Thanks again for tuning in today, and we'll see you guys next time.
Keep drawing.
Hey guys, if you have any questions or want to have a topic answered on a future show, go ahead and email us at tmi.art.productions@gmail.com.
How do you fix a lumpy mattress again?